Greetings everyone from YouTube, Engine Nerd here. Today I'm going to be talking about basically getting my Duster back on the road. I built a 360 small block with Magnum heads back about 7 years ago. Last February, broke a ringland on one of the pistons because cylinder pressure was too high, yada yada yada. I can talk more about that later, but important part is, right now, dun, 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 no engine. I've got this Hemi sitting here. That's my long-term swap goal. That's going to be probably a couple years down the road because it's going to be a few $1,000s at least to get all the stuff to get this engine so it'll run in this car. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is grab a 5.9 Magnum out of a junkyard Ram truck or Durango or Dakota, what have you, and basically use, I know it's kind of a mess in here, I'm going to use whatever leftover parts from my old 360 I can. Got like the timing cover in here, this nasty cover plate for the transmission, mini starter, damper there I'm going to have to do something about because it's weighted for 360 and the 5.9 Magnums have a different weight, so I'm hoping I can modify that because it has a removable counterweight. Hopefully I can modify the weight so that it's the same as a 5.9 Magnum. I don't have to spend another $100 on a new damper. Other random parts here, got all the fasteners, nuts and bolts. There's a brake drum. I don't know where the other one is, but I think it might still be. No? I don't know. Anyway, so first things we got to start with here. Back a while ago, I scavenged some small parts off of here for 88 Chrysler 5th Avenue that I had, M-body. I did a rear axle swap to an 8 1/4 on that car and needed some small odds and ends that I just pulled off of this thing because it wasn't running. So recently I got a set of, where are they? So from Mancini, I got their special, well, not special, polyurethane shackle bushings, just like that. And a while ago I ordered off Speedway Motors these aluminum leaf spring shackles, and I'm just gonna use a straight up big ass, I think this is what, like 7/16 grade 8 bolt, and that's just gonna be, that'll fit straight into the inside of the bushing, and the outside will fit in the spring or the hanger, whatever it's called, on the top. So yeah, you know, it's been a thing. I've had this car. This is actually my first car that my dad got me when I was 16, and put a lot into it. I mean, it's got the 8 3/4 I swapped in. Used to have a 7 1/4. It's always been a 904 automatic car, but I put another transmission in it that I found for cheap because the original one blew up from me abusing it. Got the 2.5-inch dual X-pipe system. You can see right there, I've got my old O2 sensor for my AFR readout. So yeah, here's the interior. I got this seat. That was one of the things I was doing when the engine broke. I was trying to get this seat oriented correctly. Right now it's sitting kind of off to the left, you can see, so it's not really comfortable, but damn, it's crazy being back in here. I haven't been in this car in forever. It's so weird. Obviously needs to be cleaned up quite a bit. I kind of just left it the way it was when I stopped driving it, but that's the digital gauge for the AFR readout right there from Innovate. That nasty looking hole there, that's where the vacuum gauge goes. which I've got right here. It's nice. I always ran that. It was just nice to have, to be able to pay attention to basically how much load the engine is under if I was trying to save gas or tune the carburetor, what have you. So that's pretty much that. Really the big thing, the first thing we're going to be doing is putting those shackle bushings in so that I can get the rear end back hooked into the car, because you can see the leaf spring on this side. Just to see what was in there. I took it apart many months ago, and all these rubber bushings are just trashed. I mean, it's bad shape. Not going to need this anymore, or this. That's all stock stuff. It's going to be replaced with the big aluminum shackles I got. I'm also going to put some clamps on the back of the leaf springs here. I've read in a book that I have called How to Make Your Muscle Car Handle, the author explains that basically, you may have seen that in drag racing some guys will put a clamp on the front section of the spring, and that helps reduce axle windup because it holds all the spring leaves together and doesn't let them slide and kind of act independently when you get that sudden force on the rear axle doing like a hard launch. But if you don't have a clamp on the back, it has the same effect when it comes to braking and handling. So when you hit on the brakes, the axle tries to pull the opposite direction, this way, and if these aren't, maybe I have that backwards, maybe my hand movements are backwards, I don't know, but the clamp on the back of the springs, that is what, when these get held together, that's what helps you with your braking. And these old Mopars, they have sort of a chronic issue where, firstly, the drum brakes are pretty touchy. They're self-energizing. So if you hit the brakes hard, they tend to lock up just all the time, regardless. And then also because they have, the leaf springs have so much control where the front section is so much shorter than the rear section, when you hit the brakes, the car, you get a lot of axle hop and braking. So that it'll just, you know, jump down the road. So getting these clamped in the back, not with this side clamp. These are just, I put on here so the leaves don't slide like this, but I need to put an actual clamp that compresses them together this way. Because also when you're in a hard turn and these aren't clamped together, you'll have the springs will separate and it'll make the inside, so if you're making a hard left turn, the outside of the car will lift a whole bunch because the leaves aren't clamped together and holding the car down. So that was a big issue I had when the car was running. I am in fact building this for road racing, believe it or not. Doesn't really look like it right now, but that was something that was really annoying and I want to address, and hopefully it'll be better. I also removed, I had one more spring, one more leaf on these near the bottom. I think it was in between this bottom one and the next one that I took off to put on my 5th Avenue just to lift up the rear end a bit because they were sagging. But I think that'll be good because it sat too high before and it was just a little bit too stiff. So I think with that one removed, it should be pretty close. And then having the adjustable shackles will allow me to adjust the ride height in the rear, which is really handy because now then it'll have fully adjustable ride height in the front and back. Because the front, it's got the Mopar torsion bars where you just turn the little bolt here. Well, you can't see from the top, it's underneath, but you turn the bolt, change the preload on the torsion bar, and then it raises or lowers the car. It's that simple. So the shackles, gonna have to do so we can get it back on the ground. This this brake assembly here, you can see you got some nasty stuff soaked into that brake shoe. Looks like the axle seal went bad inside there, which I thought that I had replaced this when I swapped the axle in the car, but I guess I did it wrong or something. So I'm gonna have to pull this axle out. The real crappy part, I'm probably gonna have to replace these brake shoes, even though they're almost brand new. They've got like no wear on them, but they're soaked in oil now. gear oil, and you can't, that won't really work. I'm also gonna, I have this spare 8 3/4 housing. I'm actually gonna take this seal off of here and put it on the other axle because the other one torn, and I have no idea where to find those. I mean, I have an idea, but they're probably overpriced and hard to find. So that's that. Still got these old big ass tires. I'm not a huge fan of them, considering, like I said, I'm trying to build this for road racing and handling. I mean, look at the sidewall on this. This is a 15-inch wheel. These are 28-inch tall tires. 275 60/15s. Not good for handling. I'm gonna have to, and they're about 5-6 years old now, so plans are once this thing is running, I'm gonna do some mad burnouts. Try to wear these things out, give myself an excuse to buy new tires. Maybe, if I have the money. Which probably won't. But anyway, that's pretty much where we're at right now. So, yeah, shackles, axle seal, brakes. Once that's on, put the tires, the wheels back on, then we can roll it. I'm gonna roll it out the garage, use a pressure washer, wash out this nasty engine bay. It's never really been cleaned. I think I cleaned the K-member once, but it got dirty again. The original radiator is out. It had the original 3-core in there, but that thing, it was just old and it was seeping. I had it rebuilt years ago, and the guy was like, yeah, you're gonna have to run a 10-pound pressure cap, because if you run a regular 16-pound, it's just gonna seep the whole time, and that ended up happening. So I ditched that, removed the radiator, and got it scrapped. I'm gonna look at getting a new aluminum 2-core radiator from Engineered Cooling Products. And before anybody says 3-core is better, you should check out this website, because they have some pretty convincing evidence showing that a modern large 2-core radiator actually has greater cooling capacity than a 3-core. But anyway, check that out yourself, and they're a good price too, not too expensive. So that's pretty much it. That's the 70 Duster. That's what we're going to be doing first, just to get it back on the road again, and then it'll be going from there. So, Engineered here, I'll be showing you how I'm going to be putting this Magnum together. I'm going to be getting the short block, and then putting on heads from my old engine that I might get ported on the intake side. This Hemi here is a 5.7 out of a 2014 Ram truck. I need to keep this sealed up good. It's in really good shape. It's got 135,000 miles on it, but there's almost no bore wear, which you would expect with fuel injected engine. Hasn't been abused. You can't see it, but there is still cross hatching on the bores. But yeah, plans for this, I think that'll be another video. Nothing too extreme, but definitely a little different than what you might have seen before. So, that's it for now. Engine nerd out. Luckily, we'll get some things going here soon. Take care, guys.